Hi there, my name is Chinazom Chidolwe. Thank you all once again for joining. Please let me know if you can hear me or if you cannot hear me at this time. Timilane, I'll just ask if you can hear me. Can you respond?
I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Thank you all once again for joining us at the Jobberman Virtual Career Fair. I hope you've been enjoying it so far and learning as much as I have been enjoying it. So welcome to the finance panel. The panel is titled Financial Planning and Forecasting, How to Thrive in a Career in Finance. Thank you once again for joining us. And in this session, we would explore different careers in the finance industry, how some of the industry leaders have navigated their careers, tips and tricks to break into the industry and also thrive in the industry, and also how to take advantage of opportunities in this industry, particularly in the Nigerian market. A bit about myself, my name is Chinazom Chidolwe. I'm a chartered professional accountant and I'm a wealth management professional. I'm a director of strategy and growth at Shikuda based in Lagos, Nigeria. Before my current role, I worked and lived in Toronto, Canada. I started my career in audit as an associate at PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC in Toronto, Canada, where I worked for a few years. After starting in accounting, I pivoted to a career in finance, specifically in wealth management. I worked at Royal Bank of Canada, PHN and Investment Council, where I helped manage over $750 million in assets for high net worth individuals and corporations. As an associate, I served as the trusted advisor to high net worth individuals and corporations, where I constructed and managed their investment portfolios to achieve their unique financial goals. In addition to being a chartered professional accountant, I'm a CFA level 3 candidate, and I'm just very, very delighted to be here today. And for this panel, we have hand-selected amazing leaders in the finance industry who are experts in their field. This panel is very diverse. As you would see, we have investment professionals, treasury professionals, we have business owners, we have senior level leaders, and as well as some associates here on this call, and who are very excited to share their journeys with you as well. And joining us on the panel today, we have Temitope Obasanya. She's the VP and Treasurer at Chapel Hill Denham. Jovita Modojemu. She's the founder of Pundit's Bookkeeping. Gospel Obele. He's a research and development economist and lead analyst at Streetnomics. We also have Motirayo Ade Famoti. She's the managing director of Money Stewards. We have Thelma Osadebe. She's the CEO and founder of Thesis London. And Jumoke Olushoga. She's the she works in strategy and corporate transformation at Page Financials. And once again, thank you all so much for joining us, panelists. Well, let's jump right into it. So if you could just quickly go around and maybe give a quick summary about your career journey so far, especially your current role, describe what you do on a daily basis, so they can hear what you do in your role.
Absolutely. Thank you very, very much on that. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Thelma Osadebe, and like she's mentioned, I am the CEO and founder of Thesis London. And what we are is we act as an international business merger referee, and we bridge the gap between Africa and the rest of the world through substance, through business advisory, and through luxury concierge as well. My own personal portfolio is that I started off in finance as well. I worked for the likes of KPMG, London, and JP Morgan London as well. The division that I was in was investment management, and that's where I was. I started off as an analyst and then moved on into an investment consultant. I've also worked quite heavily on project finance as well. I've managed large portfolios on deals up to about $500 billion across the world, but the main areas we focused on were usually the Middle East and the African market as well. So that's just me in a nutshell. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you, Thelma. It's nice to meet you and everyone else on the panel. My name is Temitope. I am a CFA charter holder. I have worked for over 11 years and essentially worked in most divisions of the financial services sector. So I've done commercial banking, I've done fintech, and recently joined Nigeria's leading investment bank, also across multiple functions. Treasury professional, on risk management, product operations, and strategy. In my capacity as team lead in group treasury, I was responsible for regional financial markets where I was managing ALM for 10 countries in sub-Saharan Africa, balance sheet size in excess of $2 billion. So interesting career, considering that I studied cell biology and genetics in the university. Went from doing zoology and botany and biochemistry to now doing fixed income derivatives, risk management, etc. So yeah, it's nice to meet everyone again.
Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Motoraya Adefamoti. And I'm a UK trained solicitor and attorney in New York, USA. And so my background is mainly legal and focused with international law. But in UK, I did a lot of corporate trusteeship work. So when I first moved to Nigeria in 2016, thereabout, 2014, I did a lot of private trusteeship work. I did a lot of corporate trusteeship work, and offshore trusteeship work. So that's been my background. And I started Money Stewards in 2016, and we're an investment firm with more focus on real estate and paper assets as well. So we're based in Texas, and we focus on the property sector. So that's been most of my background. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Jumoke Olushoga. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Page Financials. I also have had a very interesting career in the financial sector. I've worked in various commercial banks, retail banking, commercial banking, private banking. I've done strategy, which is what my portfolio carries on this platform. And I'm currently the Chief Commercial Officer at Page Financials, basically responsible for business development, etc. So yes, it's nice to be on here. Chinazom, you said you're a CFA candidate 3, so am I. Hopefully will be done in December. Yes, that's a summary of my financial career. Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you so much. I thought I missed someone, Gospel, but in the interest of time, I'll just move on. I'm sure he can share more about him once we move on. Well, the second question I had was, when I first started out my career in finance, I was quite confused.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Hi, Gospel. Go ahead, please.
Hi.
Please introduce yourself.
Good morning. Apologies, I had issues on boarding. Yeah, my name is Gospel Obele. I'm an economist. Yes, my background is in economics and statistics, and I'm a certified market analyst with the Bloomberg Institute, and a certified evaluation analyst with PASGA in Nairobi, Kenya, funded by the DFID. And I've done a wide range of R&D market intelligence related projects, cutting across finance and so many other sectors. So let me just keep it brief that way. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Gospel. Go back next to my second question. So when you first started out your career in finance, how did you figure out what to specialize in? Because as you know, finance is quite broad. You could have chosen anything. So how did you figure out this is what I want to do? For Temitope, I know you did a lot. You've worked in commercial banking, fintech, investment banking. Maybe we can start with you talking about how you chose what you wanted to specialize in.
Thank you, Chinazom. For me, I did try out my hands doing different things, just trying to, decide what I really wanted to do. So you know how it is in Nigeria where you, again, I tell everyone, like your first degree just kind of shows that you're able to learn in a structured manner. So you shouldn't let that deter you or restrict you in any way. So, I mean, there I was, a graduate of cell biology and genetics. And even if, when I had done my IT at the university, you know, it was with tropical research and agric research and microbiology, etc. So that was all I knew. That was all I was exposed to, right? I didn't know anything else, but I knew that I was very good with numbers and, you know, always had an interest in the financial market. So I would always pick up newspapers. I would always wonder, okay, so this treasury bills thing, like, how does it help me save? You know, how does it help me keep my money, etc. So the first job I got, again, like many graduates in Nigeria, you know, you just kind of get, you know, the first thing that comes along your way. And then I got a job at a bank with a very strong focus in investment banking, capital markets, research, and all of that. So that exposed me into that world a bit further. And I just knew that I wanted to do something in that space. And, you know, my interest was even like beyond the local market into the global market and all of that. But I was working in products. I was working in SME banking. So as far as trying to chart my course, I had to conscientiously try to develop myself. I had to have a commitment to self-development and learning, which is what I tell everyone, you never stop learning, right? So there I was in product management, doing strategy, trying to develop product features on one hand, and enrolling for the CFA, which was going to be transformational for me, you know, learning about fixed income and, you know, risk management and derivatives. So I did that. I did risk management, did strategy, and no knowledge is lost. You'll be amazed at what you learn at when, you know, that kind of experience that you pick up here and there will come to bear. So I would say that there was that innate interest in the financial markets, but then I also had the exposure given where I was working and the people I was relating with. And so that was why I made the move to enroll for the CFA, which in itself is the, you know, highest, most prestigious investment professional credential in the world. And I'm like, okay, let me do that. Let me get that knowledge, which is, yes, theoretical knowledge, but let me see how I can have that knowledge and start to look for an opportunity. So when you have a story, you know, you go to people and say, look, I have this knowledge. This is my story. This is what I want to do. This is what I think I can do. Then people will give you that opportunity. Thank you. Did you guys hear me the entire time though? I hope I wasn't muted or anything.
We heard you loud and clear.
I think.
Thank you. Okay. I think we lost Shinazon for a moment there.
Yes, I'm so sorry about that. I got disconnected. My apologies. So my next question, I'm so sorry, my apologies, I got disconnected. I'll just move on to the next question. Thank you so much. I don't know if I'm cutting off anybody. So my next question to everyone is, what skills, either technical or soft skills, do you need to succeed in the finance industry? And how do you differentiate yourself?
Can any one of us go first?
Could you kindly repeat the question? I didn't hear the question.
I think one of us should go first. I think she's having connection issues.
Okay, so I'll just, I believe that she asked what soft skills you need to progress in a financial career. I hope I got that right. So I'll just start with, the financial sector is very dynamic. It's always changing. There are always new things coming up, new things to learn. It's very competitive, very challenging. I think that one thing that I would consider a soft skill to be able to thrive is build that confidence. So basically, like have the confidence to expose yourself to new knowledge. Sometimes a lot of it can be intimidating. There's always new data. There's always new information to learn, to understand, and to be able to actually apply that to what you do. So I think that even just to be able to put yourself in a place where you are confident enough to expose yourself to vast knowledge, sometimes it's beyond you, but you're able to confidently take on new challenges, learn information, and just basically put yourself out there and do and be the best you can. I think that that's one of the soft skills that is required for developing a career in the financial sector. Thank you.
I think she's not having technical.
Okay. Chinazam, you're back. I missed my introduction.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. There's so many technical issues I'm facing here. So I guess we can just move on. Thank you so much for your answers, panelists. So now it won't be 2020 if we don't talk about COVID-19 pandemic and the effect it's had on the Nigerian economy. So I'm just wondering, in your view, what does the future look like for the finance industry? How can people take advantage of the opportunities that are presented themselves?
So if I may go, yes, you're right. 2020, and the financial markets were definitely hard hit. Industries. I mean, I was talking to my friend 2 days ago, realized how bad this was when until it touched down, he threw, and there was it was empty, like nobody only transit through Heathrow, and the millions of dollars, that we spend, and how that in itself impacts the economy, so this has been unprecedented. That's the truth. We saw very clearly how, the health of the people will affect transactions and capital flows, and with, of course, the biggest factor being the slump in the oil market, which was driven by a lack of demand. So for Nigeria, especially for our own markets, for our own economy, that crash in oil prices essentially threatened our revenue base, and we are now feeling the full impact on our currency. We've been seeing how, the Naira has been dancing back and forth. It's not fun. And many countries have already reported a decline in their Q2 numbers. Analysts are expecting a recession by the end of Q3. So what that just means for businesses, for individuals, is like, look, things would probably get tougher. That's the truth, before they get better. Inflation might continue to rise in Nigeria, given the hike in energy tariffs, the subsidy removal, and general rise in prices, cost push inflation or not, things are expensive. I bought my staple kitchen towel for 2,000 Naira, and I'm still not over it. Like, I'm telling everybody, I'm like, no, how, why? So it's not easy. That said, we do hope that the low interest rate regime that we're seeing in the market will stimulate the kind of economic recovery that we want to see. At the risk of sounding like Debbie Downer here, again, down markets, recessions, all of these things we're seeing, it's not the end of the world. They are normal parts of an economic cycle. So they happen, we will go into a recovery. It's not the end of the world. So I think it's just a good time for people to start to position for the impending economic recovery. So if you're a business person, you want to start to rework your strategy, you want to start to see how you can get cheaper funding. You want to see how you can reorientate your strategy along with changing consumer behavior, because consumers are changing, our behaviors are changing, on the back of this COVID. So you want to see how you're able to do that, how you're able to, if you were sourcing raw materials externally before, you want to start to look inwards, just to see how you can make the best of this when we come out of this. And as an individual as well, you want to start to look for market opportunities. If you do have money to invest, you want to start to look for, okay, the questions you're asking yourself as the equity market bottomed out, is this a good time to buy? What asset classes should I be looking at? How can I diversify my portfolio against further shock? So those are the pertinent questions to my mind.
And I don't know if anyone else has anything else to add.
Yeah, just
Okay, if I may weigh in. If I may weigh into the question, because Tokwe has done a very good job answering the question from an economic standpoint. I like to answer the question from a business owner standpoint. So in my company, for instance, we do training and we also do offshore investments. And I've seen a huge rise on demand, because what we do is we invest financial products for people and the dollar. Our business is based in America, so we buy properties for people, we invest in the global market. So obviously that has already peaked, because people are already seeing the volatility in Naira, and it has been exacerbated post-COVID, and that's going to continue to, in my opinion, go downwards, because we don't have the economic indices and the policies to support a very strong currency. And I think people are also seeing that whatever the currency depreciation is not taking away, the inflation is taken away. So they're seeing the need to invest in foreign assets. They're seeing the need to leverage and to protect their savings and their pensions in dollar funds. And I think that as a business, of course, we put a lot of our product online. And in addition to that, we're able to source for, we're able to invest more in properties in attractive. So rather than doing the typical brick commercial buildings that we used to do, brand new buildings, we're looking at foreclosures, we're looking at auctions. We're able to get people properties at 30–40% of the actual value. And there's a huge market for that, so much we can't even keep up with the demand. So I think that in terms of as an individual, you want to protect your savings by investing in other assets that even the local financial institutions are not providing. As a business owner, you're looking to pivot and drive a lot of your businesses online, and also protect you protect your low-hanging fruit, so to speak. So I think that everyone is we're all driving towards being more open-minded and be more technologically driven to protect what is left of people's businesses, because a lot of businesses have failed in COVID, and we see more are going to fail post-COVID as well.
Thank you so much, Motunrayo. Thank you so much, Temitope. Now I have the finance industry is very competitive. A lot of people want to get in. They don't know how to get in, whether they're moving from the back office, they want to move to the front office, they're just not sure how. So now a lot of people are asking, do they start writing professional exams even if they don't have a job yet? As you know, those exams are very expensive, like the CFA, the accounting exams. Should they start doing that even if they don't have a job yet? Or should they maybe start their own investment firms since they can't get a job in the industry? I guess, what would you have to say about that? I don't know if, Thelma, you're a business owner, maybe you can shed some light on that.
Absolutely. I would give it from my route, because actually my route is extremely unorthodox in comparison to everybody else. Again, I'm a business owner here in Nigeria, but obviously coming from the UK, and my experience is from there. So for me, entering into the financial market and moving into the career of finance, I didn't actually start off doing any exams. I'm not actually CFA certified. I literally just did my IMC. And that's literally the basics of it. But I did that further into my career. What I actually started off was experience. So what I would usually recommend to people is, if you can intern here or there, understand the industry a little bit more, there's always going to be a way in from that, because that's what I actually did. I actually interned at Arabesque, which is an asset management firm, before I went exclusively into finance, starting with financial services, KPMG, and then going more exclusively into investment banking. That would be my usual advice. I mean, you can read up as much as you want to. I believe you have to be very knowledgeable about the different products and the different sectors in finance that it offers. But then again, it would always be your experience that will speak for you. So I would always say start off there for anybody looking for a finance job. And if you are looking for a finance job, and if you are looking internationally as well, I do have some opportunities with some different global firms. So it's definitely a good time to reach out.
Thank you. Gospel, I don't know if you have anything to add, because I know you do have a business and you also have, your full-time job as well. So maybe you can shed some light as well. Gospel, I believe you're on mute.
Okay, I think you can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
All right. So thank you again for having me. Yes, I run a business. I actually do not have a full-time job, but I run a business which is full-time, and I run a lot of consultancy, contractual engagement with so many organizations. And having worked with the public sector, private sector, and the social sector, I realized that a lot of emphasis is being placed on the conventional route to the market, And one of the things that a lot of young people have not done rigorously is to, as much as possible, understand what is the gap in the market. All right. So the gap in the market can mean two things. What's currently ongoing in the Nigerian space, in the Nigerian financial services space. All right. That's one. Vis-a-vis or compared to what is currently ongoing in the global space. All right. Then the question will now be, what can I bring in to the Nigerian space that can be identifiable to this context that we are in? All right. So what global solutions, or has the global finance industry grown, all right, that I can borrow some of the ideas and apply here, and it will still scale, especially ideas that have to do with digital or on the technological end. All right. So, and it doesn't have so much to do with your core, because finance is very broad, like one of the panelists spoke about. All right. I am on the consultant team for a social enterprise company, all right, that into fintech, all right, and they do more of credit borrowing and supporting SMEs with finance and all of that. I'm plugging them to an investors network and all the like. So it's very broad. I think the question more is for young people to sit down and do a critical review of both ends, all right? Contextually speaking, what's ongoing here, and what can I take from the global space that can be identifiable to this context? More importantly, in line with technology, all right, that can be adopted. Now, once you do that, it's actually a more difficult route to take, because the learning curve is a lot more harder, all right, because there is literally almost nobody doing what you are trying to do here, or maybe one or two firms doing that. Because if you talk about finance or the financial services, you will talk about banks, investment banks, insurance companies. There are many conventional things currently happening here. So when you think about that conventional space, then the issue of how expensive it is to write an entrance exam comes to your mind. The issue of I don't have experience comes to your mind. And even getting a job can be very difficult. All right. And in as much as I want to leave that conversation for another day, because getting a job is very it's a funny conversation on its own, right? So what I would suggest strongly for young people who do not have the experience and who do not have the money to write certificate exams is to, at least you have an internet and a phone. Study as much as you can to understand what the Nigerian financial services landscape offers, all right? And ask people who work there, all right? Then look for the gaps, especially on the social enterprise level, all right? And then start something for yourself. Not everybody can start something for themselves. Let me put that caveat there, all right? Some persons will still need to go through the conventional route. But in view of financial sector development, because one of the reasons why the sector hasn't developed so well is because a lot of people are pushing into the conventional space, all right? So it's time to think beyond, out of the box, even within and out of the box, all right? To do something that seems like you're trying to develop the sector itself, by doing more interesting things. So that's my take. More innovative and audacity in thinking about financial solutions that you can engage on.
Thank you so much, Gospel. And I believe to start a business, you need to build, trust. The pinnacle, one of the pillars in finance is trust and credibility. And I would ask maybe some of the other entrepreneurs on the panel, maybe Motumayo, you've been able to build Money Stewards into what it is today. Everybody trusts, the brand that Money Stewards is. So would you have some tips about how to build trust and credibility and show expertise within the industry?
Thank you very much for that question. I have lots of lots of examples to give. The first thing I'll say is everything you're going to do that is going to be great, it does take time. And patience is one thing that I always wish I had more access to when I started, but it's one thing I've had to learn, and it is a skill. We all want to start something great. We all want to double up and scale up very quickly. You have to understand that entrepreneurship is hard. It comes with its own challenges, and you've got to be patient. That's the first thing. The second thing I'll say is that study people's failures. Jack Ma said something quite important. He said if he had to write a book, was going to write a book titled 1001 Mistakes Alibaba Made. You see, we SMEs, we medium-sized companies, we make the same mistake, but it's just disguised different. Rather than focusing on studying people's successes, start to learn from people's failures. Understand why the companies fail, understand what they did at pivotal points, and that is going to give you a huge learning potential. Thirdly, you have to take risk as businesses. You have to take certain calculated risk. Learn from mentorship. I'm very big on mentorship. I'm actually running a mentorship program starting on Saturday. I wish I had mentors to guide me, and I want to make some of the mistakes that I have, very costly mistakes indeed. And number 4, have waving faith. You will get there. You will make it. You just have to be very, very driven. You have to be very calculated, measure, and learn. Somebody mentioned about knowledge. You cannot, you cannot overemphasize knowledge. And you have to appreciate the downturn. I had my downturn last year when I had some challenges. But this year, I learned a lot from the challenges, and that prepared me for COVID. And in COVID, sales in thousands, the fact that people could invest in dollars and get returns that's 15 returns. And so obviously, we didn't have after the time, the word spread and people contact us all the time. I need a property, and how do I go about it? I need a distress sale. So we've just focused on a niche, distress sale, rather than focusing on building brand new properties. And we see what's going on. A lot of my colleagues that were focusing on building brand new properties, they wanting clients now, because clients are not investing in commercial spaces anymore. People are working from home. Why do I need a massive commercial space paying an arm and a leg? And so we learned a lesson last year, and we decided to focus on distress sales. So a lot of the properties on the market that people have paid so much money for, they can't afford to pay anymore. We are snapping those deals. So, and just hang in there. Businesses go through tough times. You just have to hang in there and be focused. Have faith in what you do, and I promise you, it will work out in the end. It will be tough. So there's no easy way out of these things. You have to you have to painstakingly walk yourself through this processes, and also make sure that if you need to be regulated, make sure you're regulated. Make sure you have the requisite licenses with which to work. I know the financial services are moving towards decentralization and deregulation as we speak, but you need to be regulated in your industry, because that also gives comforts to consumers and your clients that yes, you're qualified to do what you do. But most importantly, experience cannot be stressed. You need to ride on the shoulders of people that have gone ahead of you. Get yourself into good groups and learn from people's failures. That has to be the key. Learn from people's failures. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maturayo. Does anyone have any else to add regarding that?
Yes, please. So hi, sorry, I missed my introduction. This is Jovita. I'm the founder of Pondit Bookkeeping. In building credibility, I think one of the important things is trying to meet your customers, keep your promises to the customers. Because I remember when we started out, yes, it was kind of difficult breaking in, trying to get clients to outsource their accounting to us. And a number of people will be like, okay, how about confidentiality and things along those lines? You know, it was a hurdle of sorts. But I mean, over time, being able to prove that what we promised was we delivered, they've also been able to refer other people to us, and our business has continued. I mean, we started in 2016, we're still here, and we plan to continue to be there. So it's important to keep your promises to your customers. You know, whatever they are, do not promise what you cannot deliver. I know we've said it in so many ways, but sometimes the temptation to break into new promises that they cannot keep, you know, so it's important to assess what your capacity is as a company. And then in pitching new businesses, it's important that you are able to have the capacity to deliver on what that client wants. If you can't, then there's nothing wrong with walking away and then, you know, finding those people that you are best suited to support. That way, your reputation as an emerging business is not tarnished early in the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jovita. Those are wise words. And now, because of the economic climate in Nigeria, a lot of people find it very, very difficult to get jobs. But let's say you get a job, you know, you get a good job. I would say, what are some key things that you find in your staff, or, you know, if you're a high-level employee like a director or a COO, what are some things that make some employees stand out, that make sure that they get promoted, so that they can actually keep those jobs? Because it's one thing getting those jobs, whereas another thing actually keeping the jobs. So, I know I'm just opening it up to everyone who has something to add.
Okay, I'll just go for that. So I think that one of the things that is really important in the financial sector as an employee is passion. I said earlier that, you know, there's always new information coming up. You need to learn, you need to be confident to go out there, you need to network, you need to, you know, be on top of your game in the financial sector, because it's very fast paced and it's very competitive. So I think that the passion is, and it's very evident. You see, it's easy to tell someone that is passionate on the job and someone that is just giving as much as, you know, they can give to get paid on payday. So I think that passion is what will not be missed. I feel that anyone that is interested in building a career in the financial sector needs to be passionate about what they do, and they need to show that passion in delivering results and, you know, going out there to make things happen. Thanks.
Absolutely. Just to re-echo what Jumoke has just said, I think passion is very important, and also being proactive as opposed to being reactive. And I think that's what you tend to have with a lot of people in the back office. They tend to be very reactive. This is the work I have to do. I have to produce some sort of financial planning. I have to do some sort of forecast. Whereas those who are a lot more proactive, I'm not saying that you have to go out and find new business depending on your level, but I would say go and find new business. Me as a business owner, personally, my staff, I always look for innovative people. My staff are extremely innovative, bringing in new businesses, meeting your KPIs, and ensuring that, you know, you're helping the business to move forward consistently.
So let me just add that it's important for employees to manage their distractions. Now, these days, distractions are, I mean, they're up in our face everywhere, social media and all of that. Now, if you were pursuing a career, maybe in accounting, which is where I'm in, the details are so important that you cannot afford to, you know, make costly mistakes. Clients make decisions on the basis of the numbers that we produce for them. So you have a job, for instance, in an accounting firm, you need to have the discipline to manage your distractions so that you do not cause costly errors to the business and the clients subsequent, I mean, as a result, consequently, you know, so managing distractions is very important. You know, the discipline to be able to, will I say, have a timetable for your own distraction. There's a time for you to play, there's a time for you to focus on work, so that you do not have to start apologizing for costly errors and, you know, cause problems for the business owner. You know, if I believe that as a business owner, I am more, will I say, inclined to keep a staff who understands that our business thrives on accuracy. Okay, so that kind of staff who is able to consistently manage whatever it is going on in their life and still focus on work and ensure that work is done properly and accurately, that kind of staff is definitely going to keep thriving. I will not want to lose that kind of staff. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jovita, for the last comment. Just really quickly, we don't have much time left. We have about 10 minutes. And I just wanted to talk about networking. A lot of people have their preconceived notions about networking. They think it's maybe going to a specific event. I mean, obviously, this virtual career fair is a perfect opportunity to network. But what are some ways or some useful tips and tricks that you've found with networking? Is it networking, above and beyond your levels, or networking in your peers, and networking across industries? What are some things that you've done in terms of networking to stand out in your career and thrive in the industry?
Okay, can I jump in?
Yes, for sure.
All right. So thank you again for the time and the question. For my own experience, because the work I do is core in financial information services, data, market intelligence, and all of that. I think networking can tilt either ways, because the kind of work you do will determine the kind of people you attract, or the people you should seek to network, or the values that should drive your networking experience. So for me, the value is first trust. All right, trust and ability to confide in me, because if you can't confide in me, you can't confide in the value I have to bring to the table. So first and foremost, for me, networking is, you need to first be the value that you want to bring to the table. So are you trustworthy? That's number one. Two, do you have a value to even bring to the table? And do you understand the law of process? And all that. So I haven't understood that and haven't built a level of excellence in my work. It's a lot easier, because people just jump into places and they want to network. They don't have anything to say, all right? They don't have any skill or value to bring to the table, all right? They've not even properly understood who they are, to understand the core values that should drive the networking in the first place, or how sensitive, all right, the space they are into can either make or mar or break the networking experience. All right, so I think it's first, individuals need to take a step backwards and understand who they are, what they do, all right, the values that needs to drive the networking experience, all right, and then by themselves become those values, all right, become first before you start to seek, and all that. And then because of my kind of work, I realized that some networking experience can go higher on the value chain, or can go vertical or horizontal. All right, so you need to understand where you are now, where you're going, and all of that. All right, so because of my work, I've had to do a lot of engagement with executives. So it's a lot difficult, managing a 360 degree or slash a vertical networking experience. All right, so that way you need to now ask yourself, what, aside the values I bring to the table, what other soft skills do I need to manage the cluster of network I'm seeking to get into? All right. So it's not just thinking about yourself, it's also thinking, all right, wearing the shoes of the persons you want to network with. And it could be a mentor-protege relationship. It could be in quotes, friendship relationship. It could be a professional relationship. All right. So that leads me to the third angle. People need to be able to define what the networking relationship looks like. Because a lot of times, networking in itself has become broad. But in the times that we're in, it has to go down more specific. Do you want your network? Do you want it to be a bit more professional? Do you want it to be a bit more personal? And all that? So you need to define from the motive and the values perspective, and trying to understand who this person is and what their interest is, and respecting their space and their own values also. Define what you want and define how best to relate to he or she. That's just my take.
That's an excellent perspective. If I could just add to that, practice, practice, practice. I think he already talked about the key thing, which is value. It's easier to approach someone, whether it's your peer or, more importantly, a mentor, when you have something that you bring to the table. So you can't just come up to me and say, oh, I want you to mentor me. What can I learn from you? And I'm thinking, okay, I have a full plate. Like, okay, how about what are our shared or common interests and all of that? And then practice, because sometimes, you get to that person and you're tongue-tied and you're like, oh my goodness, you'll be amazed how the best speed networkers and the best networkers always have, and there are different names for it, elevator pitch, I won't go into all of that, but you need to always practice. You need to even sometimes think about it like, oh my goodness, I really like Michelle Obama. If I were to meet her today, what will I say to her? I really like Oprah. I really like Obama himself. What will I say? So you just need to know the value that you bring, define it very clearly. You need to know what you're looking for in that relationship, be able to communicate it in a way that it's a mutually rewarding engagement, and practice, practice.
I just want to add something, and I'm assuming that, you know, with the dynamic of people that we have here, we would have some graduates, we'd have a wide range of dynamic in terms of the people here. And I'll give you something that a very, very good pointer, and I love what two of them have said so far. Something else that's really, really important is don't be afraid to serve when it comes to networking. Sometimes it's really hard to know what you're going to say. Okay, so let's say, for example, you just left school, you're meeting an executive or some sort of MD or something. What on earth are you going to offer them? There's nothing you can offer them in terms of work unless you already know, right, I'm trying to sell business. This is what I'm doing. This is how I do this. Yes, you can come and say, oh, can you mentor me? And that's sweet. And, you know, people make a minute or two for you to mentor you. However, I think the best thing is, and my mentor always says this to me, he always says, people buy into people first. And that's the number one commodity, people. You know, so I would always say, come from a position of always wanting to serve. Sometimes you don't know what to market to them. Sometimes you don't know what to say to them, but it's by, first of all, doing your research of the person. If you don't know them prior to your research and prior to meeting them, it's happened to me so many times. I've been sat down in a lobby somewhere and somebody comes and drops me their card. Even though they're the ones who've come up to me, I would do my research to find out, okay, actually, how can I work with this person? Comes to find out that at the end of the day, it becomes something great. Even if we're not in the same sector, I would be like, okay, we can't relate in this way. You seem to be somebody who's quite high up. How can I serve? So service doesn't necessarily need to be that you're their PA. It can be something as little as, oh, I'm trying to book a flight and I'm struggling right now. This is just based off a basic conversation. You meeting a need would open so much more doors.
I think we lost Thelma.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
I think we lost Thelma. But well, thank you so much for all your comments, everyone. I really do appreciate it. From what I've learned, I hope you've learned as much as I have learned. I was taking notes the whole time. What I learned was that you must have passion for finance if you want to work in this industry, because it requires a lot of learning. And you don't learn if you don't have passion for it. You have to be proactive. You need to find gaps and opportunities to add value. Whether you're working, whether you're not working, whether you're seeking opportunities, you need to find ways to add value. You should also focus on both the hard skills and the soft skills. So you're not just focusing on getting the CFA or the CPA or the ACCA and all of, oh, ICANN. You're looking at the soft skills. I think Temitope said you should practice. You need to be practicing so that when you actually have those opportunities in front of you, you can take advantage of them. You need to focus on your communication skills. You need to focus on actually networking as well. And something that Motumaya also said, that you should study failures as well as successes. So how do you study failures? By reading biographies, by speaking with people, by saying, oh, well, you got fired from a job. What did you do? So I know not to do that thing. So I've learned so much from each and every one of our panelists. So thank you so much. Temitope Obasanjo, thank you so much. Jovita, thank you. Gospel, thank you. Motumaya, thank you so much. Thelma, I know we've lost you, but hopefully we get to say thank you off air. And Jumoke Olushoga, thank you so much. And thank you once again for attending the Jobberman Career Panel. And I hope to see you next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the other panelists too.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.